Okay, we are live. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Renegade Operative, and today we are talking about the multiversal event of the year, Spider-Man No Way Home. This trailer dropped actually in 44p because some leaker leaked this online and he was doing like a live Sony Vegas breakdown, and I was like, holy shit. Kevin Feige, he's gonna put on his night vision goggles like Sam Fisher from fucking Splinter Cell, and he's gonna completely clap somebody. I mean, it was unfinished CGI, it was terrible quality, but the hype of this trailer was well worth the wait, and we finally see it completely finished in HD. Now, we're going to get into breaking down the facets and secrets we see in this trailer, and we're also going to have a discussion at the end about the wild criticism we saw on social media about Spider-Man No Way Home. Hopefully, I can break it down, discuss, make sense, and that you will like the video in the process. Without further delay, let's get into the mix and let's get this party started.
Oh, look at this. This is a good one. Some suggest that
So
Parker's
not
bug
much
was
really
enough for his
happens
ability
with
to
this point.
hypnotize females.
If you remember the last movie, which is Far From Home, Spider-Man is on the run. Everyone knows he's Spider-Man, and clearly the consequences are high because with Peter's identity being exposed to the world by Mysterio, this means that everyone's hounding him for attention. Everyone wants to know more about him, and it's very grating for a teenager. You know what I mean?
Can we just stay up here all day? It is so crazy down there.
He's like, fuck humanity.
That's right, folks. Spider-Man is in fact Peter.
I don't know why her hair was like in the middle of his face. That was kind of weird. That's J. Jonah Jameson from the last movie. We had that same reveal. I forget the actor who was playing him, honestly. I know that feels like blasphemy, but I forget his name. I just remember he's awesome. He's from the Raimi Spider-Man verse, and that was pretty cool that they brought him back for MCU.
Is in fact Peter Parker.
Listen, I did not kill.
Now, this right here, this guy, everyone's wondering on social media if that's Daredevil because there are leaks that clearly illustrate that Matt Murdock probably will show up in this movie. It's very blurred, it's very dark. It might be intentional. We don't know who this guy is. But Matt Murdock's cameo will be nothing more than him representing Peter, and that's it. He's not going to be prominent as Daredevil in this movie. There is a criticism at the end of the video that is on my list, and I kind of want to talk about why I think he should just show up here. That will be the big cameo, and then that's something to expect later from big MCU movies. Because I feel like this movie is, well, I'll get into it at the end, but there is definitely some defense that I can do for this appearance being just a small cameo, and that's it. Anyway,
Mysterio, the drone.
he's locked up. Obviously Spider-Man can break all this shit and get out. I think he wants to sort of talk about his case and try to help his public image.
The drones that are yours.
They talk about, oh man, I have some artifacting there, but they talk about the drones that obviously killed Mysterio, so they're still under the impression. I still can't tell if this is fucking Matt Murdock, dude. I hope it is. That'd be so cool.
Does any part of you
They don't show his face, so clearly something's going on.
What do you mean?
Now that everybody knows,
Hounded, devil in disguise, hounded by the public.
lie to people.
For the record, I never wanted to lie to you.
Oh my god, I don't know
Tell someone that you're Spider-Man.
if this artifacting is affecting my video or not. I'm sorry about that, people. It's VLC. So more shots of students, taking pictures. Police outside of Aunt May's residence. Oh, they have Ned under interrogation.
I've just been thinking about how to fix all of this.
There's the Doctor Strange implication. Because obviously Peter worked with Doctor Strange in Avengers Infinity War. Clearly he knows magic and he's going to him for some guidance.
So,
That's the Sanctum Sanatorium.
to what do I owe the pleasure?
I'm sorry to bother you, sir.
Please, we saved half the universe together. I think we're beyond you calling me sir.
Okay, Steven.
Pretty funny scene.
That feels weird, but I'll allow it.
And that is the gold and black suit, if I can
But I'll allow it.
see it obviously. Yeah, there it is. It used to be some red on the sleeves, and I think they removed that because the toy has it, unless it's like some part of the transformation process, because once again, this seems like a very technology driven suit, and obviously Peter Parker has these schematics from the previous movie, from, you know, some of Tony Stark's things. So obviously he made suits out of them, and he did the same in Far From Home. I'm wondering what this suit can do. Obviously, after we saw the toy leaks, it seems like some of these suits are being ingrained with magic due to Doctor Strange maybe giving him some amplifying measures in the process. We'll see how that works in the movie. But you see he's in school or Feast or somewhere. Feast being in this movie means that, you know, obviously maybe it could be some connections to either Martin Lee, or maybe they could show some stuff. I don't know about Miles Morales showing up. I'm sorry. I don't think he will, because I think he'll be way too young. But there is that. Oh my god. Just I'm sorry if there's like a lot of terrible artifacting, but you know, you get what I mean.
I was wondering if maybe you could make it so that he never did.
Strange.
Don't cast that spell.
Wong tells him not to do it, and Strange is like, well, fuck that. I'm not listening to that. Wink, wink. Alright, so I switched to YouTube because VLC was kind of being a cock magnet to me. I also didn't want to mess up the flow that I had going, so there's that. So let's continue on without the nasty artifacting. This is the part where a lot of people take umbrage with because of the spell and saying it's reminiscent to One More Day.
So MJ's gonna forget about everything we've ever been through?
He does mess it up. Peter really messes this up.
He's my best friend. My Aunt May should be
I'll explain it later though. Anyway, you can see the multiverse breaks, things change, and the spell is cast.
What just happened?
This Christmas, even though it's not coming out on Christmas, it's December 17th, which is weird, but I guess they're like, well, holiday season, fuck it. This is all crazy. If you've seen the first Doctor Strange movie, you can see these bending, melting worlds and everything. Peter's falling through. People are kind of thinking that he fell into another world, and that could always be a possibility.
Concept about which we know frighteningly little.
Now, Strange says he doesn't know barely fuck all about the multiverse, which makes sense that even though he's here, he's the Band-Aid. Clearly, he's going to be the one that tries to fix all this mess, which is why he's included in the movie. Now, this shot in particular, people are speculating that Sandman is one of the Sinister Six members in this movie. You can see everything swirling around, a lot of dust particles and everything. It looks abnormal, weird. You see the Daily Bugle truck, which you probably didn't notice after seeing this giant spectacle. Everyone is wondering if Hayden Church, or whatever his name is from Spider-Man 3, is coming back to play Sandman. Or maybe that's like an explosion, but then it's a lot of area of effect here, so I would assume maybe Sandman is part of this. Electricity too, so that means that, you know, maybe we get some Mysterio in this scene too. This scene's weird. I can't describe it. It looks like the Grand Canyon, and Strange is assembling all these trains to launch Spider-Man and do something with it. Is weird. It looks insane.
Trying to live two different lives.
All right. This technique is the same technique that the Sorcerer Supreme did on the Hulk. They also did it with Doctor Strange as well, because she did it on him in the first movie. And now he's learned it, and he's doing it on Peter with the astral projection push out of the body to stop the person. They're at odds in this scene. However, Peter is holding this weird artifact, which is probably something he stole from Strange in order to defy him in some way, which is why he's probably getting attacked. There's the Iron Spider outfit, complete with the spider arms. That's cool. This shot is also cool. We see Happy Hogan about to get one put in his dome. That's another shot that's like weird. A lot of people say this is Lizard. And Lizard is confirmed in this movie by Daniel RPK, which is a very prominent leaker that usually is right 90% of the time. They say this is Lizard right here. This is a really fucking difficult shot. Like, I can't tell what in fuck's name, what in God's glory is going on here. Like, like, you can't even get a good glimpse of Lizard. Just complete darkness and blur. And maybe that's intentional. All I can say is that orange flares, it looks like some chameleon transparent tactic is going on here. And you can't see anything. Maybe you can see like a little head right here, and that's it. That's all you're gonna get of Lizard right now. I guess you gotta wait to see him in the final movie. This shot is very interesting because black and gold Spider-Man being shielded by what looks like sand, and there's electricity coming out of the sky. It looks like Electro is attacking Sandman, and Sandman is protecting Spider-Man. Maybe the Sinister Six will go against each other in terms of ideals, and that's the plan. Now you hear it, right? You heard what I heard. There's the laugh. It's him. It's Avenge Me. It's William Dafoe as fucking Green Goblin. Oh god, the nostalgia. Fuck. The pumpkin bomb, look. Oh my god, so much fan service. It's just amazing.
Be careful what you wish for, Parker.
So, more danger. You see Peter in a suit. Some people are saying this is a bull shot. And what that means is they're not showing things like Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire just yet. So they're saying that Tom Holland being in the suit is reminiscent to Spider-Man's Tobey Maguire being suited up. Maybe that could be possible. It's not the first time that Marvel Studios, they've done something like this. Remember the Hulk being in Wakanda happening in Infinity War in the trailer? That didn't happen in the full movie. It was the Hulk, well, not the Hulk per se, just Bruce Banner and the fucking Hulkbuster. That happened, and that was core of the movie, but the trailer told us something different. So it could be the same case, you never know, but we'll see. And there is Doc Ock, Alfred Molina, the spoiler man himself, who spoiled this and his involvement with the movie. And he's straight from, he looks like he's just straight from Spider-Man 2. Like, this is so awesome.
Hello, Peter.
Hello, Peter. Peter transforms to the Iron Spider outfit again, which is reminiscent to Bleeding Edge this time around. And we cut to title card. And there you have it. That is the end of the breakdown. Honestly, this is all dope. This is the multiverse event we've been waiting for. This is Spider-Man Endgame. This is going to be insane. Let's move on to the criticism segment that I've been seeing on social media. I'm going to rapid fire that. I will be right back with you guys. Hold on. Okay, I gotta talk about the cancer that is social media in their opinions, and I just want to get into some rapid firing here about this movie and sort of give my arguments and defense and my criticism about Spider-Man No Way Home. I won't take long because some of these ideals are pretty fucking stupid. Let me make sure I'm recording, and here we go. So the first one is, why is it called the variant verse? Why is it called variants in general for the characters? Why are Peter and Andrew called variants with the toy line? This is really stupid because they can't just call it the Amazing Spider-Man verse or the Raimi verse. I mean, the fans know what it is. It is a fan name. However, they are not going to use fan names. They're called variants. That's the name for what these people are. They are variations of the characters that we already know in the MCU, just from another timeline. Now, I can see maybe some confusion if you watch Loki, although Alfred Molina himself, and we're going to talk about that in Doc Ock, he said himself that Doc Ock was pulled from the moment where he died in Spider-Man 2, meaning this is a variation of Spider-Man from Spider-Man 2. It's not a different character entirely. It's the same Alfred Molina. It's the same Doc Ock that you know from the previous movie that was the Raimiverse. Because it is a fan name does not mean they're going to use it and make that canon. We know it's the Raimiverse. They're not going to call it the Raimiverse. You see what I'm saying? Alright, the next one. Doctor Strange is infallible. He was a neurosurgeon. There is no way that a perfect sorcerer would be able to screw up that spell. Didn't Peter kind of intervene? And therefore Strange couldn't concentrate? And then we see in Doctor Strange, like previously, that Strange is definitely capable of making mistakes no matter how smart he is. We've seen that before. It kind of reminds me of that whole thing with Peter Quill where people were complaining that Quill socked Thanos in the mouth because he killed his girlfriend. Like, when are we going to accept that these are human characters that definitely can make mistakes and they try to overcome their mistakes even if they have just a little bit of experience? I don't get it. Strange says, you know, this is a spell not worth tampering with and he knows little of the multiverse. I get it that maybe he should have some self-awareness as to what he's doing. At the same time, he's not an asshole. He changed as a character. He used to be an asshole. Maybe back in the past, he would have told Peter no and shut the door on him, but now he's a little bit more generous. Now he's a little bit more older and he's trying to help someone in need. So from a story perspective, I get why he tried to help Peter in the first place and why he ignored Wong. Let's move on. This is One More Day all over again. Yes and no. The spell is similar to removing certain attributes and making people forget, and I know One More Day definitely did that, but the difference is this spell was stopped because Peter was trying to be responsible and he thought that his friends and family would forget about him entirely, as opposed to One More Day where it's like, I'm just going to sacrifice my future daughter, I'm going to sacrifice my marriage, I'm going to sacrifice most of the important stuff in my life because Aunt May is dying and I cannot be responsible enough to accept death and just let her suffering end. No, I'm just going to do the most irresponsible thing ever and reverse all that, and therefore we have One More Day. No, like, it's not even the same. It's like one responsible mistake versus an irresponsible one. Like, make up your mind. Next up, let's keep going. Everything is gonna be retcon now. Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 1 will be retcon. I think that unless they fully show those timelines and changing all those events and showing everything in full, which I think this movie won't do because I think the runtime is going to be tight enough as is. If it's like 2 hours or 2 hours and a half, they're not going to delve into those universes. And if you watch Endgame, they will tell you that what happens to the timeline when something is pulled out of it is something is skewed. Like, the timeline consistently continues, but there is that divergent path when something is changed. Therefore, just because Doc Ock is like pulled out, for example, doesn't mean that the Spider-Man 2 timeline will be completely destroyed. It means that there is a divergent path where the orb, the pulsating nuclear orb that he was working on, probably destroyed New York in one timeline. Once that person is returned back, or once that item is returned back, things go back to normal and that divergent timeline disappears. I don't think a lot of people watch Endgame. I just don't. And I'm just going to say that for the record. Next up, the stakes don't seem high enough. The stakes aren't high enough to us. We saw that, well, Peter's identity is exposed. That's pretty bad. We saw that Matt Gargan now knows who Peter Parker is and he wants to kill him, and that's pretty bad. He can go after his family and loved ones. We see SWAT about to put a bullet in Happy Hogan's head. The consequences of the multiverse will probably lead to people getting hurt. It's a lot of stakes here. I think just because you believe these stakes are minimal to you doesn't mean that they don't exist in the first place. Next up, Why isn't this a solo movie for MCU Spider-Man? It shows that this version cannot have a solo movie on his own. Now, I want a solo MCU Spider-Man movie with like no assistance. I want that, but we are tied into things like the Avengers and cameos and Fantastic Four coming up in the future, where it's like, it's an interconnective universe as it is. Other characters show up in other movies. It's a given. Black Widow was in Captain America, Winter Soldier. That happened. And even in Doctor Strange, Wanda is showing up. And that's going to be quite awesome to see. You know, it's all interconnective tissue, and I understand that. At the same time, if this was a solo MCU Spider-Man movie, and if he was fighting the Sinister Six, there's no way he would be able to take all of them on without help, because people say this Spider-Man is inexperienced. He doesn't know really that much to take on like a giant threat. How would he take on the Sinister Six by himself if there wasn't Toby or Andrew helping him behind the scenes? He would get his ass stomped. He would get the shit beat out of him. It would be like that scene from Spider-Man PS4 where they would kill his ass dead in the process. You just saw that Mississippi ass stomp? That would happen to MCU Spider-Man in that situation. It makes sense to do this, obviously, so he needs help from the variants because of this. Next up is the number eighth question here. This is shitty fan service and nothing more than that. That's your subjective opinion. I think fan service can be utilized in a good way in a lot of media. It depends on how it's done, obviously. It's going to be a lot of nostalgia writing on this movie. However, that being said, it doesn't mean that it's going to be terrible. I mean, people were pretty excited to see Alfred Molina in the first place. That goes to show that Spider-Man 2 still has like staying power to this day. People are happy. You got to understand that. Next up is, why would Doctor Strange even cast this spell in the first place? Wasn't he an asshole? I think I answered that, where he changed as a person. Next up is, MCU Spider-Man has terrible suits. Subjective opinion. That's your opinion. I think that the black and gold suit looks fine. I think that the Iron Spider outfit looks fine. A little bit too shiny. A little bit too much CGI with it, but I mean, it's a spider outfit that protrudes 4 golden arms. Like, what are you gonna do with it that's like mechanical, you know, without some sort of complication there? Sometimes it happens. Next up is, why are they putting Daredevil in this movie if he's not gonna do anything outside of representing Peter in court or some court scene or whatever? I think they're doing this to tease the users. I think they're saying this to have a wink wink, nudge nudge to people, saying that, hey, we're doing Daredevil in the future. Kingpin is also supposedly in Hawkeye, I believe, and they're setting up the pieces. They're laying the groundwork for a potential show to be revealed, which I think is going to happen very soon. I think they're gonna say like, hey, we're gonna do something with this character. We own these rights now. We're not gonna sit on it forever. I think they're gonna definitely do something in that vein. And Spider-Man No Way Home is already like a stuffed movie to begin with. I don't think you can squeeze like Daredevil anywhere outside of a cameo, if I'm being honest. The last thought process comes from Multiverse deniers. Folks saying that No Way Home wouldn't be a multiverse movie at all. It wouldn't be a multiverse movie, period, in the first place. And then leaks happen, and then things just got funny, right? Look at this bitch. Look at it. Variant Spider-Man. He looks familiar. Like he has a web suit, right? Oh man, you know, it's pizza time, huh? Oh, multiverse deniers, you guys took the fattest L I ever seen. Look at that. It's real. They took it down. People got flagged over this. Who was that? You know, who? He's from a certain, you know, universe. It's called The Amazing Spider-Man. Who is that? Like, why would they flag this if it's not real? Uh-huh. Okay. Just keep talking. Just keep talking. That's all I gotta say. Talk your eyeballs out, please. If they show these characters in the movie, which is very likely now, I think that you're just gonna keep holding L's all the time, and it's gonna be lovely to see. Okay, so this video has gone on for way too long, and I just want to get to my final two gripes, which makes sense. The first one being, will Toby and Andrew get enough screen time? Now, as of this recording, they have not revealed the runtime for Spider-Man No Way Home. I assume 2 hours, or if it max, maybe 2 hours and 30 minutes. 3 hours would be ideal for me, 2 hours 30 or 3 hours, because I want these guys to really kick ass. I want these guys to have a bit of a story, you know. I want these guys to show up and actually give their experience and maybe allude to their own timeline, and hopefully that's done well. We need to see all of that executed in a rare fashion before they get sent back to their own universe. And I think that requires more screen time. I think that requires more presence. The leak said that the first half will be all about, you know, the MCU Spider-Man, and the second and third half will be all about the teaming up aspect, which makes sense, really, to set that up. And then that also leads to the other question, will Tom be overshadowed in his own movie, or will he grow fundamentally as a character? I'm hoping that the latter happens and not the former, just because it's a Spider-Man movie does not mean that, of course, the central character should not be Tom Holland. He's the star of the movie, and you could easily be overshadowed by the idea that Raimi Spider-Man and the Amazing Spider-Man is coming into fruition. So what they need to do is they need to find a way to divvy up all of the screen time between all three Spider-Men, and they need to make it make sense. And they also need to make it where nobody's getting overshadowed, everybody gets their moment, end of story. It needs to happen just like this, otherwise it's gonna be off. It's gonna be very off-putting. I can see the villains getting less screen time because you know why we're here. We're here to see the Sinister Six fuck shit up. You know, I can see that they're not gonna go in depth like they used to in the Raimi movies, like Green Goblin and all that stuff. We've already seen that established. We're just here to see them all band together and fight and banter, and I think the villains are gonna be utilized in that fashion. Either way, I just hope that the Spider-Men themselves, I hope they're done really well, and I hope they all get their moments, and I hope just we see some awesome fights. If they're gonna lean into the fan service, they need to lean into it all the way and make this a giant spectacle, and that's what it's gonna be. People are gonna focus on nitpicking and, of course, pointing out things like, oh, things are gonna be retconned, this and that, and you know, they might not even show those other universes. If anything, if they want to do something with them, they could extend deals and renegotiate with Spider-Man and decide, hey, we want to do a Raimi version of Spider-Man as a Disney Plus show. Let's make that deal happen. And that could be a possibility until we see all these moving parts get put into something finalized. I can't say it's going to be retcon just yet. Either way, this is Renegade Operative signing off. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, this discussion on what I think about Spider-Man No Way Home, addressing the criticisms, showing my criticisms, giving my defense arguments for some of these things going on, and obviously breaking down the trailer. I know this has been 30 minutes long, possibly, but if you could slap a like on the video, I would thoroughly appreciate it, and check out all my social media links below in the description. I will see you guys next time. Once again, True believers, stay safe, and I will see you soon. Later.